Well, I think that, Jesse's points are good. It's obvious that Zoran needs the money. And Trump has said he will basically bleed the city dry if he doesn't like the way things are going, that he would cut off federal funding. But Zoran has a lot of problems because he has promised the Democrat Socialists of America that he will not allow the police to work with ICE. Tish, the commissioner, has agreed to stay on, but she is a very principled person. And she has done a good job. Crime is down in New York City over the past 10 months. So she's not going to allow that to slip away from her. So he's in a rock and a hard place. He's got to figure out how he's going to maneuver all of this. And he learned quickly on the campaign trail, and he did well in the race. But he's got these, the Democratic Socialists are having these meetings saying, like, we own him. We own this guy, and we are not going to let him do whatever he wants. He is ours. So it's going to be, I think it'll be kind of funny if they get like the you're a commie, you're a fascist stuff like right out at the beginning. I also just want to remind people of, go back and listen to Mamdani's acceptance speech on election night, the second half. And in it, he basically said, we will tear down the city that created everything that created Donald Trump. We will tear down the institutions that allowed him to succeed, which is basically dismantle capitalism in New York City, because that's what allowed Donald Trump to succeed. So, it'd be interesting to know if the president, rewatch that, just like sort of let that sink in a little bit and see how this goes tomorrow.
Jessica, I was shocked in the green room that you asked, do you think that Zoran will be searched or frisked before entering the White House? And I thought that's a provocative question, but you raised a good point.
What we were actually talking about in the green room is how much easier it is to change the diaper of a baby girl than a baby boy. That is legitimately what the talk was.
That's what we were talking about.
So Mamdani has grown up real fast in the first few days since becoming mayor. So there was talk, obviously, he said, I want Jesse Tisch, who's the police commissioner, to stay on. That deal is now signed and sealed. He has been discouraging DSA members from primarying Democrats, saying Hakeem Jeffries, leave him alone. AOC has said the same thing. Richie Torres, who represents in the Bronx, Michael Blake wants to primary him. He's going against the DSA grain, saying, these primaries that are staked out over a position on Israel, that's not really good for business. And he also wants funding for all of these things that he needs Kathy Hochul to help with. And she said, not only am I not raising the personal tax rate, you're not going to get the corporate tax rate raised. So if on top of that, you're cut off from federal funds, you're in a lot of trouble.
There's no free bus.
So I think that these are two telegenic TV guys, right, or who are good at communicating that way. I think that they will allow each other to shine to a certain degree, like they'll get their hits in on one another. And I hope as a New Yorker that they can also have, some healthy conversation about making sure that New York can thrive and improve in certain areas. And I bet you could get a Donald Trump to say, I think universal childcare is a good idea. I think universal pre-K worked for the city. Maybe we can help out with that a little bit. And that would be my ideal scenario.
All right. I think I know this is a stretch, that there might be a smart socialist. I'm not sure. But he probably realized that socialists don't make anything. They only break things. Therefore, you need the city to exist, or you have nothing to experiment on. So he knows that it's like, I really can't, start the revolution right away, because then it's over. We don't know how to make things.
Well, like Jessica said, the campaign's over, and he's not even claiming to actually believe all the things he campaigned on. Now he's reaching for the brass ring, and he wants power, and he wants staying power. I love the montage that we just played, and it kind of reminds you of the two dogs that are barking on either side of the fence, and then somebody opens the gate, and then they're like, and they stop barking. Yeah. And I think we're going to see that from Zoran, because he's a shapeshifter already. The problem is that Donald Trump is not a shapeshifter. He's going to keep barking. He's not the dog that stops barking as soon as you open the gate. And we saw that from his first inaugural address, where he came out and said, look, everything I ran on, I meant every word of it. And I'm going to, I may not get everything, but I'm going to push for everything. And it shocked the world. And that was when the impeachments began back in 2017. And so whatever happens, I hope the whole thing is open press. I don't want to miss a minute of it. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes, there'll be some awkward, let's go for a walk over here. And he'll just walk him into the construction area and just bore him to tears with, see that over there? It's going to be awesome.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.